slow reaction, slow turnover, short stride length. You're getting burned. We're gonna give you the best movements that you can use inside of the gym to go from noob to pro, and we're gonna start right now. When we developed the 2022 Big Ten Rookie of the Year, Nick Singleton, we had to start with him in 6th grade. So we had to take this global perspective, and we had to look at him as he's 6th grade. He's a noob. So how can we work him through each specific level and take him from being a noob all the way up to the point of where he is currently as the Big Ten Rookie of the Year? And that's where we're gonna start in this video. We're gonna start with those simple movements early on, and we're gonna progress you to those pro level exercises so that we can shave some seconds off of your time and help you become a pro. So with a noob, we have someone who's typically gonna have a lower training age. This doesn't necessarily mean that they're young athletes, that they're 12, 13 years old. It really just means that they haven't done a lot of strength-based training. They haven't done a lot of plyometric-based training. They probably haven't done a lot of speed work, okay? So they're a newbie. They likely lack coordination, they lack body control, and most importantly, in most cases, they lack that mindset. And the entire goal here is that we can progress someone over 5 years of training and get them to improve their overall coordination and improve their training mindset. So most athletes lie within this spectrum of that beginning stage to that 5-year time frame. That's typically where most athletes lie. And this takes us immediately into the theory of speed and getting faster. So we've got to look at things through the simplest terms. And speed is really just the rate in which a body moves over a certain distance identified by time. And physiologically, this is gonna occur through impulse. So how much force can we apply to the ground in a very short period of time while we're moving, while we're sprinting, while we're running at high speeds? And things like elasticity, mobility, sprint technique, all of these things are gonna have an impact on impulse, which in turn is gonna help us lower that time and increase our speed. So let's start with noob exercise 1. So when we're dealing with somebody who's a new athlete, they lack muscular innervation, they lack coordination, okay? They lack intramuscular coordination and intermuscular coordination, and they lack the ability to actually control their body. So then I start to think about what exercise is the best to get that newbie to improve their speed so that they improve their coordination, they get a little bit more hypertrophic, they increase their mobility. And that lens brings us to the back squat. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off of our sweet ZKC bumpers, and this is what we wanna focus on when we're dealing with a newbie athlete. Remember, Nick Singleton, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, newbie. We want to improve their overall mobility. We want to improve their overall leg strength and their ability to have a little bit of grit and learn how to apply force quickly. So we can do slower eccentric back squats, full range of motion, and then they can come up really, really quickly, okay? So if we can do this stuff over time, consistently, get them from 6th grade to 8th grade to squat a little bit more, increase their elasticity, increase their ability to coordinate, that's going to improve their overall impulse expression, okay? But then the big question is, what about rest periods? So rest periods could be 2 to 2.5 minutes. That's ideal for when we're doing absolute strength movements, okay? Fortunately, we have rest periods built directly inside of our app, Peak Strength. Now, what we also wanna do is we wanna do specific rep schemes, 5 sets of 5, 6 sets of 3, newbie athletes. Maybe we're doing 3 sets of 5 and 2 sets of 10. This is going to increase their muscular hypertrophy and also lead to better innervation, which in turn, when they go out and they're doing their speed-based work, that's gonna help them react a little bit quicker. So noob exercise 2, this is when the athlete has a little bit more experience, they have a little bit more strength. Where can we take them next to improve their speed? And that takes us into that next exercise. That's gonna be the Nordic hamstring pull. Now, I love to use this exercise, especially with younger athletes and inexperienced individuals, but if they're a little bit older, let's say 25 or 30, we'll go a little bit slower. If we have somebody, let's say, again, bring up Nick Singleton, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. If we can get them to execute a Nordic hamstring pull very effectively at a young age, it helps them to develop stronger hamstrings. Hamstrings typically tend to be the most injured area when we're talking about speed. And this is likely gonna be related, one, to strength, but most importantly to technique when people are actually running. So we like to start with really, really slow eccentrics. So let's say we go down 6, 7, 8 seconds, and then we touch here as I hiccup there a little bit, and we can push back up. Now, we wanna make sure that we focus on that hip extension. Let's do that again, because we really, really want to lead to developing those ham hocks. Those big time ham hocks are gonna help with hip extension in other aspects, jumping, and along the lines of speed. So we can go down a little bit slower here, and then ideally we get to the point where we can touch our chest and come back up. And then over time, we can use things like razor curls. We can use things with a really heavy, slow eccentric, release the weight and come up very quickly. And we can start to get really, really unique methods to develop those extremely strong hamstrings. So to start off with the newbies, I recommend 3 sets of 6 to 9 reps, somewhere in that range, okay? You can even use bands. We have bands attached here, and early beginners will get cramps at the top of their calves. So just be aware that that does happen when people go through this process, okay? So take it slowly, and ideally within 6 months of training, 8 months of training, they can execute a perfect Nordic hamstring pull. And what better way to recover than having a protein-packed bowl of flavorful cereal from today's video sponsor, Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon is cereal reinvented, and each bowl will have 0 grams of sugar. Some flavors have 12 grams of protein, other flavors have 14 grams of protein with 4 to 5 net carbs. Now I can enjoy my awesome bowl of cinnamon roll before we get into that next exercise. This is really good. 2 years later, we're going to enter into, so we're entering into the intermediate zone. Now this is getting us closer to the pro zone. What can we do now as we continue to develop these freaks? So what exercise can give us a great response? Remember, we've got to think through the lens of development. We take athletes here from 6th, 7th, 8th grade, all the way up to that elite world-class level. Now I can hear, I can feel, I can sense the functional zealots thinking and crying, and they're gonna cringe when they find out what this next exercise is. And that movement is going to be a 1-box clean, okay? And the big factor here that we have to think about is that we have to take a kid who's 12 or 13 years old. We can't do partial eccentric, isometric, concentric, slow moving banded goblet squats to develop them to that next level. We actually have to do something practical to get them to be world class. And that's the big factor here. And one of the cool parts behind Peak Strength, our brand new app, is that you can actually select, if you don't have these boxes, you can actually do something like a hang clean or a power clean from the floor. But what this movement does is it teaches the athlete how to move weight. It teaches the athlete how to move heavy weight fast. They also learn how to absorb that energy and control that movement, and to control that movement pattern through various ranges so that their body and their nervous system communicates a little bit more clearly. They can hit deeper ranges of motion, which in turn leads to more mobility in their hip, more mobility in their lower back, more ankle mobility, which leads to better stability, which leads to better elasticity when they're running. And that's exactly why we love to use that 1-box clean. We'll do 6 doubles, 5 triples, 7 singles, anything like that to build up over time and to achieve a great stimulus that leads to better speed. And with only 140 calories, these cereals are all keto friendly. They're gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and they're low carb. You can try one of their variety packs, which has maple waffle, cinnamon roll, cookies and cream, honey nut, fruity, even peanut butter. I've already eaten my entire bowl of cinnamon rolls, so we already know which flavor is my favorite one. So click the link down below to grab the variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use the promo code GarageStrength for $5 off your brand new variety pack. Or you can even just go to magicspoon.com/GarageStrength and get those $5 off. Now, let's get back to our next exercise and get you fast as f***. Intermediate number 2. This is going to be the key exercise that bridges the athlete from being that intermediate athlete to the pro level. Remember, we're walking you through noobs, then the intermediate, and the next area is the pro. But first, this is intermediate number 2. We want a movement that's gonna target the posterior chain, the glutes, the hamstrings, the areas responsible for the drive phase, okay? We wanna be a little bit unstable, force that trunk control. That's gonna contribute to better impulse expression and better control when we're doing agility-based movements, okay? So you might have guessed what that exercise is going to be. And of course, we're gonna use the Garage Strength single leg pad and single leg roller right here. We are going to do the single leg squat, the absolute best movement for speed, okay? So we wanna get here, go nice and controlled. This is an exercise that we use to develop Haley Reichert, who just placed 3rd at the World Championships in weightlifting. This is also an exercise that we use to get Cooper Lutz to be Special Teams Player of the Year for Vanderbilt's football team in the SEC. And also a movement that we use to get Jan Johnson to the NFL. So this exercise is great if you're doing 4 sets of 5 on each leg, and you can even do unbroken movements to focus on that controlled speed, because that is what's gonna help you get fast as f. And if you want more exercises to help you get fast as f, make sure that you like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, because we're sprinting our way to 1 million subs. Okay, so pro level 1, okay? Now we're dealing with elite level athletes. We've walked them through that newbie start, we've gotten them through the intermediate level, okay? Now we're into the professional level. This is where athletes have made defense mechanisms throughout their training career, and so it becomes a little bit harder to get that specific adaptation to drop their time and increase their speed, okay? So think about, this is when athletes have a very smart body. So then we've got to get a little bit more creative, and that's where I'm going to go here with a isometric action, okay? An isometric action, and we want to feel our feet sort of holding this position. We want to feel this unstable position here. We're going to hold this for about 20 seconds. Okay, so I want to focus on my balance. I want to focus on my glute action. Okay, right now I can feel my hamstring and my glute firing, and I'm being stable on that PVC pipe. Okay, so we're going to hold this for about 20 seconds. Now I might rest for 20 seconds. My body's awake. I'm trying to really feel that glute, hamstring, my feet, everything. Okay, now we're going to get into acceleration. We took that 20 seconds holding that isometric action, 20 seconds rest, and now we get into a unilateral bound. So we're here, boom, 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 okay? Then we're gonna repeat that. We're gonna go on the other side as well. 20 seconds rest, go through this jump series. We're gonna do that 5 to 6 times on each side. This is gonna help with impulse expression. It's gonna help us feel that mind muscle action now when we're holding that PVC pipe. Remember, pro level athletes are smarter, their body's smarter. We've got to trick their body into getting a little bit quicker. If we can lower their time by 1/100th of a second, 1/1000th of a second, we can make them an extra couple $1 million potentially, or an extra world medal, whatever that might be. So we have to get creative, and we have to provide that strong stimuli so that they can adapt and be a little bit quicker. Pro level 2. Remember, we're taking the 6th grader and we're developing them into the dreams that we have, the level that we could only imagine. But we've done this because we've led them through proper progression and proper development of an athlete. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit more creative. There's 2 things that I love when I'm dealing with professional level athletes. I love to use isometric actions, and I love to use pulses. So here's a perfect example of a pulse. I'm gonna get into a split position here, and I'm gonna go boom, 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 boom. Nice, easy, 4 each side. I know that was more than 4, but I wasn't counting. I'm gonna go on this side here, same thing. Boom, 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 boom. More than 4 again. We're using the Garage Strength Power Elastic. This is the HAF band. If you hook this to something immovable, it's gonna help you pull that back down, and your nervous system is going to light up. When we're dealing with elite level athletes, we have to get creative. So we do those pulses, okay? We can rest about 20 to 30 seconds. You can do this on a stadium, you can do this in the turf area, you can do this on your backyard, wherever you wanna be. Fortunately, we have steps. We hit those pulses, 4 each leg. Rest 20, 30, 40 seconds, okay? Let that nervous system recover, come over, and you can do these single leg stair jumps, focusing on acceleration. It's gonna be very similar to if you have someone running a 40. Coming out of the blocks, you have to drive. Let's see. I failed twice already. Oh yeah, that was way better. 3 good jumps after those pulses. Okay, so you go 4 pulses, 3 jumps on each side. It's gonna help improve your drive phase. It's gonna help improve your reactive ability and your overall coordination. So speed kills in the weight room, and the more we can do things with weights that will lead and mimic our actual sport. That's gonna help us with our overall sport-specific speed. So there's 3 things that you can do leaving this video. That first key factor is you can take all of these exercises, go to the gym and try them today. And you can see how they feel. You can see if they help you with your overall speed. Remember, impulse is a key mechanism behind speed performance. That second thing that you can do is, of course, head over to peakstrength.app and pick up our app today, where we have over 35 different sports programs, and you can work on those specific programs to help you develop. And the first 7 days are free. Head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store, or the Apple Store. And that third key factor is you can click on this playlist right here, and you can get more content around speed-based training. Because remember, freaks, if you guys want to become champions, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.